Once upon a time, in a sky that was blue and clear, there was a small and fluffy cloud named Nepenthes. She was as white as cotton and as light as a feather, and she loved to look up at the sparkling stars at night. They twinkled like gold in the dark velvet of the night sky. One night, Nepenthe looked up at the sky and sighed dreamily. "Oh, how I wish I were a star. Everyone looks up at the stars and says, 'Wow, how beautiful they are.' No one ever notices us clouds unless we rain. We're so boring." The big grey clouds around her chuckled softly, and one grey cloud said kindly, "But Nepenthe, we are very important. We carry the rain, we cool the air, and we water the earth." But Nepenthe wasn't convinced. She dreamed of sparkling and shining. That night, Nepenthe tried to glow like the stars. She gathered some distant lightning bolts, but the lightning was powerful and dangerous, and she trembled with fear. Then she tried to get closer to the stars, so she rose higher and higher until she felt tired and cold. The stars twinkled calmly, but they didn't talk to her or welcome her. "They're too busy twinkling," Nepenthe thought sadly, and slowly headed back down. The next day, Nepenthe saw something beautiful from the sky. The earth was dry, the flowers wilted, and the little birds were looking for shade. She felt something strange in her heart, something warm. She gathered herself with the other clouds, and it started to rain. The raindrops fell to the ground and nourished the thirsty earth. The flowers perked up, the leaves of the trees rustled happily, and the animals rejoiced. And in that moment, Nepenthe heard a little bird saying to its mother, "Mama, it's raining. I love the clouds. They bring us water and make the flowers smile." The mother bird chuckled and said, "Yes, my little one. The clouds are like angels. They help us without asking for anything in return." Nepenthe felt happiness for the first time. She wasn't sparkling like the stars, but she was useful, she was loved, and she was special in her own way. From that day on, Nepenthe didn't try to be a star anymore. Instead, she was proud to be a cloud and say every day proudly, "I don't twinkle like the stars, but I bring life to the world." The little cloud Nepenthe lived in a vast and endless blue sky with countless other clouds. Some were white and fluffy like her, while others were dark and gloomy. But despite their differences, all the clouds had one thing in common: they loved to play and have fun. One day, Nepenthe noticed a large, dark cloud looming in the distance. It was shaped like a giant ball, and it seemed to be floating towards her. As it got closer, she could see that it wasn't just a ball. It was actually a young boy who was crying. He was so upset that his tears had turned into a big, dark cloud. "Why are you crying?" Nepenthe asked him, floating closer. "I lost my balloon," the boy sniffled. "It floated away into the sky, and I'll never see it again." Nepenthe felt sorry for the boy. She knew how much he loved that balloon, because she had seen him playing with it in the park earlier. "Don't cry," she said. "I'll help you find your balloon." And with that, Nepenthe and the other clouds started to search the sky. They looked everywhere, but the balloon was nowhere to be found. Just when they were about to give up, Nepenthe saw something. In the distance, she saw a small red dot floating above the tall buildings of the city. "There it is!" she cried, and she raced towards it. The clouds followed her, and soon they saw that it was indeed the boy's balloon, but it was stuck high above the buildings, and there was no way to reach it. "What are we going to do?" one of the clouds asked. "I have an idea," Nepenthe said. "I may not be able to reach it, but you can." She explained her plan to the other clouds, and they all agreed. As the boy watched, the white clouds gathered together and formed a big white bird. Its wings were wide and strong, and its beak was sharp and pointed. Then the dark clouds swooped in and formed a net to catch the balloon. The two clouds worked together perfectly, and before long they had the balloon in their grasp. The boy was so happy. He thanked the clouds for helping him, and he promised to never let his balloons go again. From that day on, Nepenthe was known throughout the sky as the kind and helpful cloud. She may not have been the biggest or the strongest, but she was the most caring and compassionate. One day, Nepenthe was drifting through the sky when she saw something strange. There was a big hole in the clouds, and the wind was rushing through it. She had never seen anything like it before, and she was curious to know more. She asked the other clouds if they had seen this before, and they told her it was a windhole. A windhole, Nepenthe repeated. What's that? The other clouds explained that a windhole was a special place where the winds from all over the world met. You want to see it, Nepenthe said, and she floated towards the hole. As she approached, she could feel the wind getting stronger and stronger. It was a wild and exciting feeling, and she couldn't help but giggle. Then she saw it. The windhole was a swirling vortex of air, and it was like nothing she had ever seen before. She could see all the different winds from all over the world coming together here, and she could feel their power. Suddenly, a gust of wind stronger than the rest swept through the hole. It caught Nepenthe off guard, and she started to spin around and around. She was scared at first, but then she realized that it was just the wind showing her a special dance, and so Nepenthe joined the dance. She twirled and she jumped and she laughed as she felt the wind lift her up and carry her along. She danced with the wind until she was dizzy, and then she slowly came to a stop. When the other clouds saw Nepenthe dancing with the wind, they were amazed. They had never seen a cloud dance like that before, and they all wanted to know how she had done it. Nepenthe told them about the windhole and how she had felt the wind inviting her to dance. The other clouds were excited to try it themselves, and they all headed towards the windhole. But when they got there, they couldn't feel the same wind that Nepenthe had felt. The windhole was still there, but it wasn't swirling and it wasn't inviting them to dance. "What do we do?" one of the clouds asked. Nepenthe thought for a moment. "I think the wind only invites those who are open to the idea of dancing," she said. "We need to be like me, curious and playful." The other clouds understood. They had been so focused on seeing the windhole that they had forgotten to feel it, to listen to it, to understand what it was trying to tell them. So they closed their eyes, relaxed their bodies, and let the wind wash over them. When they opened their eyes, the windhole was swirling again, and the clouds couldn't help but smile. From that day on, whenever the clouds wanted to feel the wind, they would head to the windhole and dance. They learned that the wind wasn't just a force of nature, it was a living, breathing thing that wanted to be respected and understood. And they also learned that sometimes you just had to let go and dance.